studios of the MetroNews Radio Network in Morgantown, this is West Virginia's premier sports talk show.
From Weirton to Welch, Martinsburg to Matewan, and all points in between, this is the Northside Automotive Statewide Sportsline.
Tonight's show is brought to you by Northside Automotive, Route 19 in Summersville. We'll beat the advertised price of any other dealer in the state, guaranteed. Now here's your host, Tony Caridi.
Hi, everybody. Good evening to you. Welcome in Northside Automotive Statewide Sportsline on this 19th day of October. Thank you so much for being with us in studio tonight with the Senator, Brad Howe. Coming up on our program this evening, Coach Don Nealon will join us later in the show as he gets ready for his weekly show, the Don Nealon Bob Pruitt Show, coming up on many of these same stations at 7:06 this evening. And we'll hook up with Coach Nealon. Also, about 6:35 tonight, if you are a college football fan, chances are you either were watching or you heard or you have now seen repeatedly the end of the Michigan State game on Saturday. It is arguably the most memorable football play since the Iron Bowl fiasco between Alabama and Auburn, when the field goal was returned for the touchdown. I don't even know if I need to go through this with you, but by now you've seen it. Michigan's got the game won. All they have to do is punt the ball away. Bop, bop, bop. Bounces a few times. There's no return man back there for Michigan State. Clock winds down. Maybe they get a Hail Mary pass. Game over. Michigan wins. Instead, fumbled snap back to the punter. Picked up by a third-string defensive back for Michigan State who gallivants, that's gallivants, into the end zone for the most improbable touchdown since the Iron Bowl. Sean McDonough was calling the game for ESPN, and Sean will join us later on tonight on the program, and we will talk about it. Unbelievable. That's why we watch, right? That's exactly why we watch. Good evening, Senator.
Good evening, Tony.
All right, let's jump on in here. Mountaineer football team off this week, of course. Return to action next Thursday against TCU. This month of October, which we knew before the season ever began was going to be a massive bear, is turning out to be a massive bear. The Mountaineers losing their third straight game on Saturday, now 3-3 on the year, and they will be an underdog as they get ready for that game against TCU. Couple of news and notes, and then we'll talk about the game. Big 12 announced today that West Virginia's Shelton Gibson has been named the Big 12 Special Teams Player of the Week after he returned that kickoff late 100 yards for a touchdown. Meanwhile, Baylor quarterback Seth Russell, League's Offensive Player of the Week. Oklahoma's Zach Sanchez, cornerback for the Sooners, Defensive Player of the Week. You think Oklahoma played with a little bit of an edge on Saturday? Wowzo. Huh?
Did you hear that stat on Bob Stoops in Oklahoma?
After a loss?
Have not lost back-to-back regular season conference games since 1999.
That works.
That's pretty good.
That works, huh?
Didn't again. Rolled Kansas State.
Also, note to those of you that may put a jelly bean or a donut or maybe $1 on a game, for those of you that do that stuff, you know who you are. Whenever you find out that a team's had travel problems, take that team and just go with it. Heavy. Took Oklahoma like 91 hours to get to Manhattan, Kansas. Actually, they didn't leave till midnight.
Right.
Several planes, didn't work, whatever. Anyway, they end up leaving at midnight. And they went out there and they just laid wood. Idaho this weekend. Did you see that one?
I did.
Idaho is playing Troy, which is in Alabama. They left 3:30 a.m. Pacific time. Think about this now. They left at 3:30 in the morning their time because the plane wouldn't go the day before. So they get to Alabama at what would be 7:30 Eastern time, 4-hour flight. So am I right? Am I right?
No, that'd be
No. Anyway.
They got there 7:30 Eastern time.
Yeah, 7:30 Central because they're in Central. Suffice it to say, they
Whatever.
left.
They
in
got
the
there the morning of the game.
They left in the middle of the night. They got there the morning of the game. They had enough time to go eat, get a team meeting, and go play the game. In Idaho, I don't know if you know this, they're terrible. I mean, their coach is going to get whacked.
That'd be Bobby Petrino's brother.
Yeah, Bobby Petrino's brother. They won. They kicked 4 field goals and won. Beat Troy. Lined up. Beat them. So my point in all of that is this. Whenever a team has bad travel, go with that team. It does something for you. It really, truly does. Mountaineer basketball
Mountaineers have
team.
been there.
Mountaineer basketball team. Remember when couldn't get to the Big East tournament? Had to fly. We were trying to get to New York. Had to fly to Scranton. Ice storm in Scranton. Took a bus into New York. Went to go through the tunnel. Before they get through the tunnel, there was a chemical spill in the tunnel. Got into the hotel after midnight. Had to play the second game of the tournament at like 2 in the afternoon. Went out there, laid wood.
Is that also that Tyrone Sally got sick?
Yeah, same
Frank
trip.
Young came in?
Yeah, same deal. Same deal. Anyway, point is, bet it heavy. By the way, you had Todd Furman on Friday night on your show.
Did.
How did
Excellent.
he do? How did he do on his on his calls that he was making?
Excellent. The one we have to go back and look. He had Mountaineer fans probably didn't like it, but he had the Baylor game. He was 3-1 if I'm not mistaken. Because I don't think I've got to go back and look at the Ohio State Penn State game. He had Ohio State big. I think that may be the only one he missed on. 3-1.
Okay.
Good debut for Todd Furman.
Yeah, I listened to him on the app there. When
Knows his stuff, yeah?
Yeah, pretty good.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, high school football is out. The MetroNews Power Rankings released for this week. And this is how it looks. Let's do a little class single A. Magnolia in the Power Rankings, number 1, then Wheeling Central, then Man, St. Mary's, East Hardy, and then Buffalo in the 6th spot. Double A's, Bridgeport's number 1 in the Power Ranking, Tulsa 2, Bluefield 3, Fairmont Senior 4, Mingo Central 5, followed by James Monroe 6. And then in Triple A's, Cabell Midland 1, GW 2. Those two teams play each other this week.
That's a good one.
Point Pleasant, Wheeling Park. Point Pleasant's 3, Wheeling Park is 4. Martinsburg, 5. Capital 6. If you'd like to take a look at all of the rankings, the Power Index rankings, go to our website, WVMetroNews.com.
Let me correct something. Todd Furman went 4-0.
Did he?
Ohio State ended up rolling 38-10.
There you go, people.
Nailed it.
There you go, people.
Better tune in Friday.
Tune in, listen to him. Don't go to those crazy, stealing, cheating lowlifes at FanDuel and DraftKings. That thing's just one of the great scams.
Wait, Garrett, tell me we did miss one. He missed Memphis, Ole Miss.
Oh, did he? Thank you, Garrett. We appreciate it.
Thanks for raining on our parade there.
That's all right. We need Garrett. We need some fact-checking on this program. NFL tonight, Monday Night Football, 3-2 Giants at 2-3 Philadelphia. Ball in the air at 8:30. Major League Baseball playoffs this evening. Game 3 of the ALCS in Toronto. Kansas City leading 2-0. Jays will try to scratch in that series down to zip. Members of the Mountaineer basketball team, Jonathan Holton, Devin Williams, will be in attendance at Big 12 Basketball Media Day tomorrow in Kansas City, along with Hugs. So 2 years ago, Hugs wore the Letterman sweater. Last year, he wore the bow tie. I'm thinking he's going to do something. I don't know what it's going to be. It'd be a disappointment if he doesn't do something now that he's sent. I mean, he's kind of set the mark, hasn't he? So what's he go with?
I hope it's not that Letterman sweater. That's a bad look.
I like that.
I know you do.
I thought his bow tie would have been better last year if he wore it.
It was upside down,
It was upside
right?
down.
Yeah.
I think if he didn't ask me, but I would go with a hat tomorrow, like a fedora. Haven't had many college basketball coaches wearing fedoras.
I'll take the no on that he will not have a fedora.
WV women's soccer player, junior defender Kadisha Buchanan. This is an amazing honor. This isn't a big honor. This is like worldwide big honor. Today she was named among 10 players on the short list for the FIFA Women's Player of the Year. The FIFA Women's Player of the Year. That's not like all Big 12. That's not like the national NCAA Women's Player of the Year. That's not that. That's in the world, right? That's like the world's best player. She's in the top 10. Unbelievable honor. She's the lone defender on the list.
Think about that.
Amazing, huh? And if she's the lone defender, it's probably, I know nothing about this, but I would imagine it's kind of like an offensive lineman winning the Heisman, right? They're going to give it to people that score goals.
The fact she's on the list is remarkable.
It really is. We're going to have her on the show, by the way, on Wednesday. And WVU will conclude its 2015 regular season. 2 straight Big 12 games this weekend. Friday night road matches. The Mountaineers open the trip with a contest at Oklahoma State on Friday, and then they'll close things up on Sunday. All right, so that's the deal. When we come back, jumping into Mountaineer football, we'll talk about the Mountaineers, some thoughts. 6:35, Sean McDonough, ESPN, will join us. We'll talk about him not just making a call on the end of the Michigan State game. He made a call for the ages. I mean, how good you got to be to get the third-string defensive back picking that ball up. By the time he runs it in, you've got his name, and he's got 3 names. It's not like the old days when guys used to be named like Bill Smith. This guy had 3 names, hyphens, everything. He got them all right. We'll talk with Sean coming up. Don Nealon will also join us later on in the program. If you'd like to watch our program, it is absolutely breathtaking. You can do so on our website at WVMetroNews.com, WVMetroNews.com. We'll be back.
This is Ken Tyree, your West Virginia State Fire Marshal. If you have a fire tonight, will you get out safely? You'll have a better chance of getting out safely if you've planned ahead. Develop a fire escape plan and practice it with your whole family. Everyone should know 2 ways out of each room and know where to meet outside. Make sure everyone understands that getting out is the first priority. Practice your home fire drill at night and during the day with everyone in your home. And remember, once you're outside, stay out. A message from the West Virginia State Fire Marshal.
As a cyclist, we make choices. We choose which motorcycle manufacturer to buy from. We choose what type of motorcycle we ride. We even choose where and when to ride. We also choose to ride straight, alcohol and drug-free. Alcohol is involved in 50% of motorcycle fatalities in West Virginia. That's 1 in 2 drivers who die each year. Don't become a statistic. Ride straight, alcohol and drug-free. Presented by the West Virginia Department of Transportation, Governor's Highway Safety and Motorcycle Safety and Awareness Program.
Thursday nights on MetroNews, it's Mountain East Conference football. This Thursday, the Notre Dame Falcons visit the West Liberty Hilltoppers, and MetroNews brings you all the action. Join Travis Jones and Rasheed Marshall for the call of the game starting at 7 p.m. Don't miss Division II football at its best as the Falcons take on the Hilltoppers on Mountain East Conference Thursday night football. From MetroNews and WVMetroNews.com.
There it is! There it is! Go!
The Northside Automotive statewide Sportsline returns in 2 minutes. On Metro News. For 30 years, the voice of West Virginia.
To navigate any map, you need a legend. Celebrating the most awarded SUV lineup ever. Jeep Cherokee 2015 4-Wheeler of the Year. Jeep Grand Cherokee, the most awarded SUV ever. And introducing Jeep Renegade, the most capable small SUV ever. Now get an additional $500 bonus cash at the Jeep Celebration event. Get 0% financing for 72 months or $3,500 total cash allowance on the 2015 Jeep Cherokee Limited.
When something is missing from the picture, it doesn't make sense. Without the right people, your work site is just a site. Your office is just a space. Let's Train West Virginia has grant funding for on-the-job training in today's in-demand careers. Workers learn while they earn, and companies can be reimbursed up to $10,000 per eligible new hire. So qualified employees and satisfied employers complete the picture. Learn more at letstrainwv.com.
Almost there. Just 5 more minutes. Almost home.
Statistics show that 80% of auto fatalities occur close to home on rural roads.
Gosh, cops.
That's why law enforcement is stepping up rural patrols and cracking down on impaired driving. If you are over the limit, you are under arrest because drinking and driving don't mix. Remember, over the limit, under arrest. This message brought to you by the Governor's Highway Safety Program.
Thanks so much for being with us, everyone. We welcome you back in. Northside Automotive Statewide Sports Line. So the Mountaineers now 3 up and 3 down, losing on Saturday to the Bears of Baylor. So what'd you think? Here's what I think. As good as last year's team with one big, significant, massive improvement, which may very well make them the champions of this league when that showdown comes with TCU, provided nothing else burps them along the way. And that is obviously the ability of having a quarterback that can run. Mm-hmm. Wow. You talk about the next piece, right? So a year ago, West Virginia able to figure out a way to get Bryce Petty uncomfortable. He was not going to be a running threat, and they were able to get after him, throw him off balance, took him out of his rhythm. Saturday, spread the field, triple receivers outside of the numbers to the sideline, single receiver on the other side. So however you want to play it, I'm either going to get man-on-man coverage here with Corey Coleman, or I'm going to do something off this bunch receivers of 3, or you spread it, now I've got a quarterback that's going to run it. You talk about a package now.
Because, go back, because last year you held Shock Linwood down.
Yep.
You hold the whole team.
Again, pretty much did again this year.
So that's where I was going.
Yeah.
The team came in, Baylor last year, averaging more than 300 yards a game. Last year you held them to 95 yards rushing. Phenomenal effort. But Bryce Petty couldn't take off and hurt you. Saturday you held Shock Linwood to 84 yards rushing. Averaged 4 yards a carry. Still a decent day, but not what they're used to doing.
Got some late.
And there were multiple times when West Virginia was there at the point of impact that Shock Linwood would have been down for a loss had you given him the ball. What'd Russell do? Pulls it, takes off and run. There were 2 keys, I thought, to the Baylor offense. That was one. That was first, foremost, the biggest difference. And number 2, as Coach Nealon talked about last year, they didn't just run go routes. They had that slant working pretty well as well. So they changed their game plan. They didn't just come in and say, we're going to do what we do. Mm-hmm. They did a much better job of adjusting, and West Virginia just simply didn't have the horses to match up with them.
Yeah, absolutely. Offensively, I thought Skylar Howard improved his performance from what it had been. Obviously, you need to increase the percentage of completion, but he just seemed to be a little bit more composed than he had been in the previous 2 weeks. Agree, disagree? A little bit more composed.
Agree. And there was only the one interception.
Yep. You got to throw a higher percentage than that. Running, obviously, Wendell Smallwood is having a very, very good season. I mean, you're ripping it up in chunks. That's impressive. I mean, he's at just a little bit under 7 yards per carry. Still not right with the ankle. He continues to impress me. Russell Shell has not met any kind of an improvement from where he was a year ago. He's not as good as he was a year ago at this time.
Yes. Now, Smallwood, though, the only thing is his numbers came out good, but he did have the 52-yarder.
That's right.
If you take that away, you're 11 carries for 37 yards. So he didn't have the bigger plays that he'd had in the last couple games.
But he did have his longest run from scrimmage this season. I mean, that's the kind of a body of the work thing. To me, at the end of the day, a running back's going to – yeah, I understand what you're saying. But the ability to hit a big one, I take that. I understand what you're saying. He wasn't.
I'm with you. I just would have liked to have seen more than just one. You needed more because the passing game. Here's my disappointment, Tony. Let me get your take on this. Right, wrong, or indifferent, it felt as if the offense was one of 2 things: run the ball or big play deep. And I think that's something West Virginia is really going to have to address moving forward. The big plays were there. I mean, the big plays were working. You had 5 plays account for like 205. 5 passing plays accounted for like 205 passing yards. So the bulk of your passing yards came on just a handful of plays. The big play was there. The intermediate stuff was not and is not over the last few weeks. Right. And I think if West Virginia is going to be successful down the stretch, that's got to get fixed in some way.
100%
agree.
100%. This offense is predicated upon hitting intermediate pass routes. That's what this is all about. This offense, the curl and the hitch in this offense is what air is to your lungs. You've got to have that. You've got to be able to do that in order to do the other things. And you're right. That's what they've been working on. They're trying to focus on that. They've got to develop an intermediate passing attack, and that is not there consistently. Crosses, hitches, not there right now.
Yeah.
That's got to get a lot better.
you need guys like Da'Keil Shorts and Jordan Thompson to reemerge. They've been awful quiet for the last few weeks, and that's the part you've got to get that going to make the other parts of this offense work. And we did not see that Saturday.
Correct. Obviously, the big surprise on Saturday was that David Sills, the young man who came in January as a quarterback, made it out onto the field. So his deal is this: extremely athletic. And when it was apparent that the order of quarterbacks was going to be Howard, Crest, Chugunov, they started using him on scout team at receiver. And he starts making play after play after play after play, and they went like, is this someone that can help us be better right now as a receiver? And the answer was yes. I mean, Dana Holgerson's gone as far as saying, right, he's our best receiver right now, the way things are going. And I thought that was the big surprise. And then to go out there and to make plays.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing.
Big boy. I mean, he's a nice-looking kid, man. I mean, 6'3", athletic, showed a great – I mean, everything that came near him that was catchable, he caught. Even that one on the sideline, which I still can't understand why they didn't take a look and see a replay on that. I thought –
But he was in. He was in.
He was in.
Yeah, he was in. That was a good catch. I'll say this.
No, I'm saying the one they ruled out.
Oh, I thought you meant that
on
first
the
catch.
That the first one, no, it was a 3rd down and 15. He got 21 off of, yeah.
There is a bit of concern I have that you've got two highly rated quarterbacks coming in Sills and Crest that you've now moved out of the position. And I know Dana keeps saying they can move back to quarterback, and we saw Crest come in and get some snaps at quarterback. I do have a little bit of concern there just from a recruitment of quarterback side of things. But in Sills' case in particular, I really think you can put all debate aside on whether that was a good move or not, simply based on performance. I mean, you didn't have to wait. You didn't have to take Dana's word for it that he's looked really good in practice. Guy had 2 catches, right? One, a big 3rd down catch on the sideline, heck of an athletic play. The second one, over the shoulder, guy draped on him, touchdown. Fine. Put Sills at wide receiver, no debate. Move on.
Feed him.
Move on.
Yeah, just feed him.
I like that decision.
629 Northside Automotive Statewide Sports Line. Tim in St. Albans, you've called. Go ahead. It's your turn. Thank you.
Hey, you guys talked about the end of the Michigan State-Michigan game, which was dramatic. And then you talked, I wonder how many jelly beans or jelly donuts traded hands on that one play.
Well, you know,
that would be
not that we follow this, but someone who does was in the studio before we went on the air, and they said if you had bet Michigan State to begin with, you were still good, right? Because it was 2. So it wasn't, it didn't swing it because the line, I guess, was 2.
No, the line was bigger.
The line was bigger, and the line was only
by 8. It was 7 or 8.
7, I think. You might be right. Yeah, and it was 2. So either way, they were fine with it. Yeah. Yeah. Pretty amazing, though, huh?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. You just never, ever, ever know. That's why, like, you ever watch a game and, like, maybe your wife or your girlfriend says, it's over with, let's go, it's time to go eat, gotta go. And you're like, no, I just gotta watch this one last one. They're like, come on, it's over. That's why you don't leave.
You know, it's tough to stomach after that game, though. You know who came on the studio show and started discussing and analyzing that play? None other than Butch Davis, referencing Tremaine Mack at West Virginia. Yeah. Should have turned the station before we got to that point.
That was Michigan's.
Thanks, Butch.
That's Michigan State's, or that's Michigan's Tremaine Mack game, right? That'll live forever.
Forever.
That'll live for absolutely ever. They're all right. Don't worry. They're fine. That'll hurt and that'll sting. By the way, Harbaugh was at the White House today with President Obama. He had been invited earlier, some initiative that his wife is involved in, and so the president talked to him today. And so, fired him up. Said, it's all right. Hang in there. Everything's going to be all right. What doesn't kill you may only make you better. Pete and Weirton, good evening to you. Pete, go ahead, sir.
Good afternoon, voice of the Mountaineers. I've been trying for a week to get an answer to this question.
Oh, dear. Okay.
He's called us twice, and we haven't been any help. Glad you're back.
All right.
Twice. Try 5 times.
Let me rephrase. You've called me twice while I've been on. Go ahead.
Tony, 2 weeks ago or so, during the week of the Oklahoma game, you were throwing out stuff, obviously hyping Oklahoma. And you asked a trivia question concerning who has the most either national titles or conference championships, according to the AP, in football history. And I was just curious if you could look that up again or repeat it sometime this week when you're on, or pass it on to Brad and the coach so that I can learn. I took that question to the bar and got blistered.
Uh-oh, they beat you up at the bar?
They did.
What did they say? What did they say?
Well, they said that it was clearly wrong, and then they started saying, well, what are the parameters, and so on and so forth.
Well, hang on one second here. So if I remember correctly, I want to say Oklahoma was 7 or 8 on their, is what they were saying. I'm looking it up right now, and I probably might.
When I looked it up, it said, Alabama was number 1 with 10. And again, there are so many sites with so many different conditions. That's why I wanted to ask, because I probably misunderstood or misheard what you said.
Yeah, so here it is right here. Oklahoma, we said 7. So Oklahoma had 7 national championships. Notre Dame has 8. Alabama has 9.
Okay. So it was wrong. I heard it wrong, evidently.
Yeah, what I was saying was they've won 7. I didn't say that's the most ever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, Donnie.
All right, thank
happy.
you. Okay, Pete, see you, buddy. Take care. No reason for that young man to go take some.
We were bumming Pete out because we couldn't give an answer to your question. So I'm glad he called back and got you.
Stay with us. Pete. Stay with us when we come back. You heard his call probably this weekend. Michigan State at the end. Fumbled, punt snap, return. Sean McDonough, ESPN ABC, joins us when we return. Northside Automotive Statewide Sportsline.
Have you ever wondered just who are the Friends of Coal? Well, there are 50,000 West Virginia families who support the state's coal industry, and they look a lot like you. Honest, hardworking, good neighbors who want a future for themselves and their state. They're coal miners, housewives, school teachers, mechanics, doctors, college professors, pizza delivery guys, your friends. The Friends of Coal know and understand the importance of the coal industry to our state's economy. They know about the 60,000 jobs the coal industry creates in our state. They know about the $25 billion the industry pumps into our economy. And they know that without coal, our state would face an economic catastrophe. Come to think of it, that sounds like most West Virginians. Let Congress know you are a proud West Virginian, and you are a friend of coal.
Good-paying jobs with great benefits are available now. As a correctional officer with the West Virginia Division of Corrections, you'll also have educational opportunities for a degree in criminal justice at reduced prices, high school diploma or GED, and drug screening required. Take advantage of an accelerated hiring and training process that other state agencies don't offer. National Guard members get partial credit in the Training Academy. Visit WVDOC.com.
The Northside Automotive Statewide Sportsline returns in 2 minutes, on MetroNews. For 30 years, the voice of West Virginia.
To navigate any map, you need a legend. Celebrating the most awarded SUV lineup ever. Jeep Cherokee 2015 Four-Wheeler of the Year. Jeep Grand Cherokee, the most awarded SUV ever. And introducing Jeep Renegade, the most capable small SUV ever. Now get an additional $500 bonus cash at the Jeep Celebration event. Get 0% financing for 72 months or $3,500 total cash allowance on the 2015 Jeep Cherokee Limited.
When something is missing from the picture, it doesn't make sense. Without the right people, your work site is just a site. Your office is just a space. Let's Train West Virginia has grant funding for on-the-job training in today's in-demand careers. Workers learn while they earn, and companies can be reimbursed up to $10,000 per eligible new hire. So qualified employees and satisfied employers complete the picture. Learn more at letstrainwv.com.
Almost there. Just 5 more minutes. Almost home.
Statistics show that 80% of auto fatalities occur close to home on rural roads.
Cops.
That's why law enforcement is stepping up rural patrols and cracking down on impaired driving. If you are over the limit, you are under arrest because drinking and driving don't mix. Remember, over the limit, under arrest. This message brought to you by the Governor's Highway Safety Program.
Welcome back, everybody. Northside Automotive Statewide Sportsline rolling along on a Monday night edition of the show. Coming up in just a little bit, football coach emeritus Don Nealon will join us in the studio. We'll get his take on the weekend's football activities. He's getting ready for the Don Nealon Bob Pruitt Show at 7:06 on many of these same stations. Delighted to be joined right now by a good old buddy, ESPN ABC's Sean McDonough, who had the, what should I say here, Shawnee? The pleasure, the honor, the most amazing opportunity for one of the all-time great college football calls on Saturday. Good evening to you, buddy.
How are you, Tony?
I'm doing great. I
tell you what, it's a great honor to be the warm-up act for Coach Nealon, who is one of my favorite people that I've met doing this job, and I know you feel the same way about him. Wonderful guy, and happy to be with you, my friend.
Absolutely. It's our pleasure to have you with us here. So, Shawnee, you have done so many games through the years. You've been blessed with a lot of opportunities to make some amazing calls and huge sporting events from the World Series on down. Rank this one here from Saturday at the end of Michigan and Michigan State.
You know, Tony, I don't think I've ever seen an ending like that. I've been blessed, as you said, to have been lucky enough to wind up in the right place at the right time. And in our business, that's really what it is. I mean, we go seasons without having an interesting game, and then you go other seasons where it seems like every week you have a barn burner. When we had our first game this year was BYU Nebraska, which ended on a Hail Mary. You know, BYU won the game on a Hail Mary on the last play, and it just seems like every week we've had an unbelievable ending. So, you know, it was the most amazing ending I've ever seen. I think it's probably one of the most amazing endings in the history of college football. You know, because you've done this with distinction for a long time. When you're announcing the game and you're in the moment, you hesitate to say, you know, this is one of the greatest finishes in the history of college football, because you don't want to overstate it. But after 2 days with a little time for reflection, I honestly think it is one of the most amazing endings in the history of college football. And I wish I had said that, because I think it's true.
You know, we had one of those here in 1996. It didn't have the national significance, but it was Miami, West Virginia. And all West Virginia has to do is exactly the same thing. Just punt the ball. Don't even need to take a step. Just get it out. You're going to win. And Tremaine Mack came, blocked it, and a kid named Jack Hallman returned it. Game over. You talk about devastation. And literally, the Mountaineers weren't the same for a long time after that. It'll be interesting to see here how Michigan rebounds from that.
Yeah, I agree, and they have a bye week, which I think is terrible. You know, I think it would be great for them if they could just get back out and play, but they have 2 weeks until they play at Minnesota, and you know, it's just unbelievable, that ending. We were talking, you know how it goes. You know, we're putting up the graphics about the upcoming schedules, and ESPN has this great research department, and after the fact, I learned that the win probability for Michigan State was 0.2%. You know, it was 99.8% for Michigan to win the game. And it's a good lesson for us to learn as broadcasters. You know, you should never seal the deal and sign off on one team winning or one team losing, really, until it's totally over. And I thought it was totally over, but it wasn't, and it was one of the great finishes in the history of college football.
It was. Let's do this, if you would. Indulge me in this. Let's break down this call. I'm going to play it, and then, because for a play-by-play guy, there's people that listen and watch, and that's one thing. But for a play-by-play guy, it takes on a whole different meaning, because play-by-play guys, the first thing they're going to say is, did he get the guy that picks up the ball? You had the guy, the third-string guy who picks up the ball, and you didn't miss stride as you're making the calls. Let's just we'll just break it down. Here we go, real quick.
Whoa, he has trouble. Whoa, he has trouble with the snap, and the ball is free. It's picked up by Michigan State's Jalen Watts Jackson, and he scores on the last play of the game. Unbelievable.
Shawnee, that had a little Buffalo Sabres Rick Jenneret to it. I just absolutely.
Well, I hope to hit puberty sometime soon. You know, Tony, because you do this and have done it for a long time, the best calls are just, you go with the flow. I never think about what I'm saying. I just react to what the situation is and go with it. And you're exactly right. My spotter, a guy named Zach Rapadrazone, did an unbelievable job because, Jalen Watts Jackson was a third-string safety who I don't think played in the game except for special teams. The coaches never mentioned him in our meetings. And we blow up the flip card, which you have and every broadcaster has, 1 through 99, but we blow it up. So every number is huge just because you don't want to be pointing at somebody's number and you can't tell if your spotter's playing at 19 or 20 or 21.
Right.
So every number is huge. And Zach, God bless him, as soon as the ball popped in the air and it wound up in number 20's lap, he was jamming his finger on Jalen Watts Jackson, and I trust him. You know how it is.
Yeah.
If you have a great spotter, a stats person, you can't overstate the value of that. And he was nodding at me like, yes, that's who it is, and that's who it was. And it was, and I thank God because. And the other part of it is, my voice cracking. I don't care. I mean, I think some people would be embarrassed by it, but I just think the most important part of a call of any big play is just go with it and have genuine, raw emotion, and I hope that's what came through in the call.
Exactly. I'm 1,000% with you. It's the pure emotion of it. And you're right. Trusting your spotter, I don't know if there's any more trust because here's the deal. If Zach had pointed to the wrong guy, you would have been getting fried from the time that ball got scored till today. He blew the call instead. So you got to trust your guy and just say, God, I hope he's right, because if you don't, it's on you. And no one knows.
I did. I mean, a lot of it's a leap of faith. And, I'm happy for Zach because he's been getting a lot of love on Twitter the last couple of days. It's the first year that he's worked for me. My previous spotter for the last 7 years, his wife is pregnant, and he just didn't want to be on the road anymore, and he stepped aside, and Zach stepped in. And when we were leaving the stadium the other night, I said, Zach, tonight's the night you became a spotter. And he really did. I mean, you know how important it is, Tony.
Oh, absolutely.
You're as good a play-by-play guy as we have in our business.
Well, thank you very much.
ESPN Sean McDonough is with us. Sean, you referenced the BYU-Nebraska call earlier, so you've had two unbelievable ones this year. And I know you said you don't think about what you're saying. It just comes to you, and you've been doing this long enough that I believe that to be true. But the emotion that's coming out of you, and you mentioned that, I mean, you sound like a professional fan, for lack of a better way to describe it. You had as much excitement in your voice as a fan. I guess that's just the real emotion coming out when you're watching it, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I hope that's what comes through. To me, the most important thing in anything in life is sincerity. It's the old joke about the most important thing is sincerity, and as soon as you learn how to fake that, you're all set. But just react to the play as you see it, and it was stunning. I mean, the guy drops the snap. Poor Blake O'Neill. He's done a tremendous job all year. I mean, a huge part of the reason why Michigan was 5-1 going into that game and was ahead in that game was that he had punted, I think, 7 times for an average of about 44.7 yards. He had an 80-yard punt earlier in the game, which was the second longest punt in the history of Michigan. He's been a huge part of the success of their season. And, to drop a knee-high snap and then, with hindsight, he probably should have just fallen on it and made Michigan State make a play. But when I call a game, I just honestly think I'm going to describe everything as I see it, and I hope the call reflected that I was just reacting to what was going on because it was one of the most shocking, amazing endings that I've ever seen in my life.
Fantastic. Sean, great stuff, man. We really appreciate your time. And I don't know, so you've got BYU, Nebraska, you've got Michigan, Michigan State. They say good things happen in 3. So you've got one more big boy left in you this year.
Well, we have Clemson, Miami this week, so maybe that will be it. But some of my favorite games I've ever called have been right there at West Virginia. I know it wasn't a great result for West Virginia, but one of the other greatest games I've ever done was there when Shane Graham kicked the field goal for Virginia Tech the year they went to the national championship game.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that was a great football game. And
Coach Nealon, Coach Nealon's in the studio.
Yeah, Coach Nealon didn't hear that.
He just leaned back and shook his head. Michael
Coach just said, "Holy jumping catfish."
That's what I said.
That's why I hope you said that, Coach. I'm so glad you're there. I don't know if you were there when we first came on, Coach, but I said to Tony, "You're one of the best people I've ever met in this job," and we share a common affection for Coach McPherson, and I'm so happy just to share the stage with you on this show, and I hope you're well.
Well, thank you very much. You're a class act, big guy, I'm tell you that.
Oh, thank you, Coach. God bless you.
Yeah, thank you.
Shawnee, thanks so much for the time, buddy. You stay well.
You too, Tony.
All right, buddy. We'll see it. There he is. Sean McDonough, ABC ESPN, and he had the call of the year. Stay with us. When we come back, Coach Nealon gives us his thoughts on the weekend gone by. Northside Automotive, statewide Sportsline.
To navigate any map, you need a legend like the capable Jeep Cherokee, Four-Wheeler Magazine's 2015 Four-Wheeler of the Year, and Jeep Grand Cherokee, the most awarded SUV ever with best-in-class 30 mpg highway and 730-mile driving range. So you can push even farther into uncharted and unmapped territory. Get a great deal on the most awarded and legendary SUV lineup ever at the Jeep Celebration event. Right now, purchase and get 0% financing for 72 months or $3,500 total cash allowance on the 2015 Jeep Cherokee Limited. The Jeep SUV lineup has received more awards in its lifetime than any other competitive SUV lineup. EPA estimated 4x2 with available EcoDiesel V6 and 24.6-gallon fuel tank. 0% APR financing for 72 months equals $13.89 per month per $1,000 finance for well-qualified buyers regardless of down payment when financed through Chrysler Capital. Residency restrictions apply. Take retail delivery by 11/2. Jeep is a registered trademark of FCA US LLC.
There are things that make our lives easier.
You know, locking shoelaces, pizza scissors, remote control mops, one-hand bottle cap openers, and the Know Before You Go driving app.
It's free travel information on West Virginia highways, traffic congestion, work zones, road conditions, information that can make your travel easier. Log on to WV511.org or download the WV511 Drive Safe app.
Know Before You Go. It'll make your life easier.
The Northside Automotive statewide Sportsline returns in 2 minutes, on MetroNews. For 30 years, the voice of West Virginia.
To navigate any map, you need a legend celebrating the most awarded SUV lineup ever. Jeep Cherokee 2015 Four-Wheeler of the Year. Jeep Grand Cherokee, the most awarded SUV ever. And introducing Jeep Renegade, the most capable small SUV ever. Now get an additional $500 bonus cash at the Jeep Celebration event. Get 0% financing for 72 months or $3,500 total cash allowance on the 2015 Jeep Cherokee Limited.
When something is missing from the picture, it doesn't make sense. Without the right people, your work site is just a site. Your office is just a space. Let's Train West Virginia has grant funding for on-the-job training in today's in-demand careers. Workers learn while they earn, and companies can be reimbursed up to $10,000 per eligible new hire. So qualified employees and satisfied employers complete the picture. Learn more at letstrainwv.com.
Almost there. Just 5 more minutes. Almost home.
Statistics show that 80% of auto fatalities occur close to home on rural roads.
Cops.
That's why law enforcement is stepping up rural patrols and cracking down on impaired driving. If you are over the limit, you are under arrest because drinking and driving don't mix. Remember, over the limit, under arrest. This message brought to you by the Governor's Highway Safety Program.
He has a smile on his face because Coach Nealon's here. It's his most enjoyable time on the air all week. Senator's smiling. Coach Nealon's here. All right, buddy. What a weekend, huh?
Oh, boy. Whoa. You know, Tony, it's amazing. I said last week on this show, we're going to get 40 points and win that game. That looked to me, we're going to need 75 to win that. That's a heck of an offensive football team. Big-time offensive football team.
Why do you think they're so good?
Well, you know, they got great speed at the wide receivers, and they got a great quarterback, and their running back is good. I wouldn't say he's great, and their offensive line is workmanlike, and they got a heck of a scheme. And that I think his number is number 1.
Yeah, the receiver, Corey Coleman. Yeah.
Whoa, he is big time. And you know they spread you out, Tony, and they make you defend the whole field. And the thing, I'm going to tell you one thing about Baylor's game plan this year. It was 10 times better than a year ago. A year ago, they just kind of acted like, I don't know how they acted. I mean, everything was just straight down the field and heave it up. But, hey, boy, they knew what they were doing this time. They had when we blitzed, they got that ball out. And when we didn't blitz, they got the ball to them. They just were really, really well prepared and really good. I thought they were the best team I've seen all year.
You guys are still on the Legends coaching?
No.
Not doing it?
We're not doing it. Too many guys are not doing well, and the guy that did all the film work for us died. So
that's not good, huh?
Yeah, no. Yeah. So things just didn't work out. But there's no question that Baylor's for real.
The quarterback coach, the ability to run, what's that do to a defense?
Oh, you heard Sean Madonna talk about the game. You know, we had that team. I don't know if it was 4th down or 3rd down, but Michael Vick got away from us, broke our contain to the field, snuck down the daggone sideline, and Barrett Green had him right in his sights, and Barrett about broke his ankle. Michael Vick made one move and scooted down that sideline. The kid kicked a, 52-yarder. And the amazing thing, we came back with our backup quarterback to go ahead of him because Mark got hurt, if I remember correctly. Is that right? Come on, Senator.
I don't remember that part.
That's right.
The Michael Vick run is seared in my memory.
I guarantee you, Brad Lewis went in that game and put us ahead.
I trust your memory on that.
And I could be wrong because I get my years mixed up, but I don't think so. And but that kid kicked that daggone field goal and beat us.
Talk mindset for a minute. West Virginia now, that's the 3rd in a row they've dropped.
Yeah.
Not an easy one coming up. You got a bye week here, then you got TCU. What do you say mindset-wise? What do you have to do? I know, and I'm guessing your answer is going to be you just have to get back to work and try and take on TCU. But you're in the midst of this losing streak. How do you break that? How do you get out of that?
Yeah, well, you know, first of all, Dana's got to make sure these guys understand, hey, we got 5 or 6 very winnable football games. The next one we got coming up is pretty good, but they're not great, and they got a lot of injuries. We certainly got a chance against TCU, but they'll be the best team we play the rest of the year. And so we lose that game. If we lose it, that's what, 4 losses? Okay, then after that, every game is winnable. Texas might be the next toughest coming up. They might be getting better. Texas Tech, so-so. Kansas, bad. Kansas State, bad. Iowa State's bad. So, I mean, we're looking at, in my opinion, if we lose at an 8-4 season.
How did you take the temperature of a team in a situation? If you dropped a game or you drop a couple games, how did you take the temperature of the team to see how they were? Are they resilient? Do they seem okay? Are their heads hanging? How did you do that?
Well, you know, number one, Brad, the whole key to that is senior leadership.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't have senior leadership and you lose 2 or 3 games, your team will go in the tank. But if you got the right kind of guys, you don't have to worry about your team because your seniors will take care of your team. You know, your coaches, you're not with those guys all the time. But that senior leadership's going to pay you off, and we got a lot of good seniors.
Would you call guys in to have them deliver that message, or you just, if they were good enough, they already knew the message to deliver?
Well, they knew the message to deliver, but I'd make darn sure they'd know it. I would always call in 3 or 4 of my seniors and say, hey, gang, we got a lot of football left to play. You make daggone sure we're ready to play.
Yeah.
And I like some of these seniors. They'll be fine. Our team will not quit. They'll play well.
Ohio State, Baylor. Which one you like better?
Well, so far, from what I've seen, I like Baylor. I like Baylor because they're so much more explosive than Ohio State on offense. I think defensively, Ohio State's a little better. But, if you got to score 60 points to beat Baylor, that's tough to do. They give up 30, 35, but they get so many. And it looks to me like they're going to get that many against most people. Oklahoma, I think Oklahoma's got some players. And I think that might be a pretty good test for Baylor because those guys up front might be able to put a little more pressure on that Russell kid than we were able to. So that'll be an interesting game.
Solid point. Well, one thing we learned this week, buddy, is no matter when you think it's over, it's not over until it says 0-0-0, right?
Oh.
You're talking about young coaches as far as teaching moments and learning, right?
Oh, there's no question about that, Tony. I really, of course, this is not anything against Michigan State, but, the Harbaughs are really, really good friends of ours. Jimmy and Johnny were trying to date Vicky when they were growing up. He was on our staff at Bowling Green and also when I was at Michigan, and I really felt bad. In fact, I had talked to Jack for about 45 minutes on Thursday, and he was telling me about the Michigan team.
Well,
and just being there, Tony, I'll tell you, in this social media, they're probably killing it.
Well, they are. That poor punter. So, hey, hold the thought. Coach Nealon, Coach Pruitt come up on many of these same stations. It's 7:06. Coach, thanks so much for joining us.
Love it, Tony. Love it.
We're for Sean McDonough, Brad Howe, our producer, J.R. Falls, and Matt Sunday. We're out back in tomorrow night, 6:06, Northside Automotive Statewide Sportsline. We'll see you.
Northside Automotive Statewide Sportsline has been an exclusive presentation of the MetroNews Radio Network. Copyright 2015. All rights reserved.